Right, so yeah, sorry that this is a little bit later than usual. Normally try and post these after the game, but yeah, I've sort of got a bit of a flu/cold at the moment, which is why I sound like this. And although, yeah, I guess if South Africa wanted, probably this sort of flu cold, deep lower voice might have helped me with my South African accent. But yeah, but in any case, my thoughts pretty much are the same. Well, yeah, of course, the other thing was that we had to stay on and watch Adi Savia get his, the celebrations for Adi Savia's 100th cap. Um, Certainly loved the touch around with the Lays having the Whitaker's peanut butter slabs and all that. And I was like, oh, hang on, wait a minute, that's having all the Savia family there, that a really really cool moment. And certainly, there's one player that absolutely 100% gets 100% approval rating. It's probably Adi Savia, and yeah, I guess it's a nice little segue because I think the performance tonight exemplifies why he's why he's an All Black Centurion, and why he even with after 100 tests, it is hard to see how the All Blacks would do without Adi Savia. Kind of reminds me of, I guess he is now at that point where you think, he is a part of the All Blacks furniture. They are, and obviously that's the law that not that started by Buck Shelford, of course. That you're only there to look after the jersey. You're not there permanently. But yeah, there are certain players like you think once they're gone, there's going to be a massive gap. Thinking your Richie McCaws, your Dan Carters. I think Adi Savia certainly probably is it has to be included in that list now. Certainly the moment of the game when he forced that turnover with the Springboks hot at attack, looking to force a draw, which still would have been a very respectable result for the Springboks at Eden Park. Of course, I know that Rassie Erasmus kind of made this his number one goal to end this 87-year winless drought at Eden Park. In fact, he put that almost ahead of winning the rugby championship, amongst other things. But yeah, look, it was. But anyway, back to Adi. Look, yeah, it was a classic Adi Savia turnover, just wrapping himself around the ball legally to force the turnover to the All Blacks and force a penalty to the All Blacks. And fortunately, yeah, look, the Springboks did get the ball back somehow later, and cause a bit more cause New Zealand high blood pressure rates to go up across the country. But yeah, look, it was certainly it's a moment that was certainly it is going to go down as one of the memorable moments of the game. And yeah, and I guess that leads us, this was a test match. I'm saying this in a very good light because I think it wouldn't, I don't think it would be hyperbolic to say that this was probably the best test match of 2025 yet. Could very well possibly be one of the greatest test matches ever. And look, I know it's not like a 100-score aggregate game. It's not a World Cup final or that sort of thing. But I think if you watch, this is the sort of game, you have to watch it and actually to understand why, why New Zealand versus South Africa games are always so, why this rivalry is so widely adored, not just by rugby fans, but by sports fans. The level of intensity, look, it wasn't the most perfect skill-wise, and I think the conditions at last night at Eden Park were very tricky. There was certainly a shower in the middle of the game, and that makes the ball much trickier to handle, trickier to kick. But so I thought you got to give the players the benefit of the doubt, and of course, but certainly you could see that the contest, the desire to compete was there, the intensity, and yeah, I guess the other mark, of course, we had a really, yeah, we had an unusually high number of HIA checks. Look, I think that's a good thing personally because I think you're thinking about what's happened recently, with all rugby players. I think certainly with the passing of Shane Christie in the last few weeks, the rugby has and the way they treat head injuries has come under the light, and it was certainly. I guess it's more testament to how physical this game was. And on that note, I guess only Cody Taylor didn't come back, and I guess if you're looking at the strict HIA rules, that rules him out of the game against Wellington, but Samisoni Takiaho has continued his revival. In fact, it seems to be a bit of a Chiefs revival season. Takiaho was great coming on, even if it had to be forced. Quinn Tupai, though, scoring the try that would ultimately win the game. I thought that is a moment he'll never forget. It's if given all the injury trials he's had since that awful injury he suffered a couple of years ago, to see him score the winning try. Look, even as a super sub, it was absolutely fantastic. I guess, quick segue. Does that mean he starts next week? I think that would be harsh on someone like Billy Proctor, who I thought actually played his best game his best game for the All Blacks to date, and showed his why he should be in the first choice at the 13 jersey. Look, not only his tackling's really improved, but playmaking wise, he's got a pretty good kicking game, and he's got all the attributes to be a really really good center and a good forward for Jordie Barrett. So I think they need to persist with Barrett and Proctor for the time being, but certainly having Quinn Tupai on the bench is right now it's certainly an asset. I think you might very well I think Tupai might just be ahead of Anton Leonard-Brown at this point. But I guess speaking of players who have really kind of put their hand up and confirmed that they should be first choice, Simon Parker. Look, I guess I was amongst many All Blacks fans who were a little bit surprised when Simon Parker was named to start at 6 against the Springboks, and a little bit concerned because, Parker, look, I don't deny Parker has deserved his chance to be in the All Blacks, but I just thought, this was, to chuck him in against the Springboks in such a big game, it could have, we've seen many great players have their careers absolutely destroyed, just on one game. Not necessarily by media, but more like confidence. But my goodness, and I guess this is a testament to the Scott Robertson and what the Jason Ryan, what all the coaches see, because like Simon Parker now suddenly seems to be the number 6 choice. Look, his defense was outstanding. He put some really big hits on with his shoulders. His work rate, as was his work rate, and he was more than a match for a Springboks number loose forward trio that is quite is quite invincible at times, and so that and that allowed Adi Savio, Wallace Satiti, sort of your more playmakers to do what they can do best with the ball, as well as off the ball. So I think, look, for me, my man of the match, as I said, was Adi Savio, but Simon Parker certainly deserves a lot of plaudits as well, and I think. Look, I know it's a small sample size, but when you have such a good performance like that against the Springboks, it is a very good feather in the cap to have for. And so well done to to Northland's adopted Mulu, and I expect he will play. He will retain his spot, barring injuries in midweek during training. I expect I think I'll expect this Parker, Savia, Satiti trio to continue with Tupou Vaa'i moving back to lock. By the way, just wondering, is Tupou Vaa'i sort of the new clappy happy, pot stirrer in the All Blacks, because he did seem to clap every time the All Blacks got a penalty or something, which is something I never really thought, never really saw until now. But yeah, I don't mind that at all. Well, as for the Springboks, yeah, look, I think going down 2 tries early on to the first one was certainly a mistake by Willie LaRue. A bit, although some brilliant stuff from Imoni Narawa, which I guess I should quickly mention. It's a shame we didn't get to see more of that, but it was a great kick from Barrett to Narawa. But yeah, I guess Willie LaRue could have done better with that. But yeah, look, once they were done 7-0, you figured that the All Blacks were gonna your favourites to win this with the crowd backing them. And once Will Jordan got the second try, not long after, it was always going to be an uphill struggle for the Springboks. But you got to credit them for working their way back into the game and almost at one stage looking like they could force a draw. But yeah, I guess that you can't really turn to Eden Park and start with a 14-point handicap against the All Blacks. That's not really the way to end droughts. But look, the Springboks still look forward to Wellington. I think they will be a dangerous side going to Wellington, and they also, of course, they'll have in their minds that Wellington hasn't been the greatest place, has been the least successful home city for the All Blacks. So yeah, they'll certainly be up for that. I do anticipate there'll be a few more changes from the side. So I guess naturally just to freshen things up. But there were certainly a lot of things that the Springboks would be very pleased about, like scrums, and all that. I guess one thing that's of concern is the lineouts. That's usually an area that the Springboks are usually very good at, but they lost a couple to the All Blacks. So yeah, and again, handling errors as well. But I mean, the All Blacks were guilty as that as well. And again, as I said, with the conditions, I think we can give them both teams a pass given how tricky the conditions were. So yeah, but look, that whilst we had a lot of drops, it certainly doesn't take away from the fact that this is as close as it gets to a perfect test match. I mean, in terms of intensity, the competition, the drama, all the way to the end. Both sides, I think yes, South Africa did give the All Blacks a bit of a head start, but I guess you got to remember it is Eden Park. But if you were wanting to explain to a doubter why you'll want to explain why New Zealand versus South Africa at rugby is the greatest rivalry, why it's up there with other rivalries like Boca Juniors River Plate, Real Madrid Barcelona. I think this is the just flick them the highlights or even the full game of this, the full game replay, which I imagine will be on YouTube at some stage. But that's it. Yeah, that's my thoughts on New Zealand, South Africa, and yeah, what an absolute brilliant test match. And yeah, and I guess we're lucky that there is going to be more of this to come next week. This coming Saturday in Wellington. But look, what are your thoughts on the game? Who was your man of the match? And yeah, any standouts, performances from either sides? And of course, if you like this video, feel free to like and don't forget to subscribe.